Hello everybody, it's Nancy News here, and today we've gotten a lot of breaking dates today. And the first news we'll be talking about today is coming from the Russian Federation. So, if you remember a couple of days ago now, the Russian President Vladimir Putin declared a truce with Ukraine during the celebrations of Victory Day. So, Victory Day as in the winning of the Allied forces in the Second World War. So, the ceasefire will last from midnight on May the 8th to midnight on May the 11th, Moscow time. So, Zelensky has officially rejected Vladimir Putin's ceasefire proposal for the 80th victory anniversary. He also stated, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, that Ukraine cannot guarantee the safety of foreign guests attending the May 9th parade in Moscow. If you didn't know, there's I'm pretty sure over now 20 foreign leaders of many countries around the world that will be attending the 80th anniversary Victory Day military parade in Moscow, and Zelensky has kind of hinted of a possible Ukrainian attack on the Victory Day parade, so very interesting news. So, Zelensky officially rejects Putin's May 7th to May 9th truce. He claims that it's a theoretical gesture, and he is sticking to a 30-day ceasefire that he wants now. So, Zelensky is arguing that a three-day ceasefire is not enough. It should be at least 30 days of ceasefire, not 3 days. But Russia's position is that if Ukraine gets 30 days of ceasefire, Ukraine may entrench in positions on the battlefield, trying to advance their defenses on the battlefield. So Putin is offering only 3 days. So according to the Kremlin, the purpose of the ceasefire proposed by Russia was to test Ukraine's readiness to seek a peaceful resolution. So interesting news. So we've also got news that the Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico says that he is not backing down and he will go to Moscow for the May 9th Victory Day parade, even though there was a slight hint that Ukraine might attack the parade, even with the foreign leaders there. So, shrugging off warnings from Zelensky, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Fico, called Ukraine's reaction unheard of and added, "I won't change my plans because of threats." Zelensky is wrong if he thinks no foreign leaders will show up. So, even a lot of leaders will continue showing up, even with Zelensky not guaranteeing the safety of the foreign leaders. Xi Jinping, the president of China, will still visit Russia for at least 4 days. So the chairman of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, at the invitation of Vladimir Putin, will pay an official visit to Russia from May the 7th to May 10th and take part in the seminary's events dedicated to the 80th anniversary of victory in the Second World War. So, there's reports that the Chinese president will sign numerous treaties with Russia during his visit to Russia. We've also just got news today that the Cuban president has just touched down in St. Petersburg, and he was greeted with a warm welcome by many Russian officials. And obviously he's in Russia today to attend the Russian military parade celebrating the 80th anniversary of the ending of the Second World War in Allied victory. We've also got news that Mongolia's president will join in the Moscow Victory Day guest list despite Zelensky's threats. So during the Second World War, Mongolia was one of the first to provide aid to the USSR when the war began. So Mongolia's president will be attending the Victory Day, despite maybe a potential Ukrainian attack on Red Square. We've also got news that Myanmar's Prime Minister will also be joining other world leaders and attend the Victory Day parade in Moscow. So this now gives us a list of all people which will be going into the Victory Day parade. So all leaders that will be attending the Victory Day parade on 9th of May is the President of Abkhazia, the leader of Azerbaijan, Armenia, Belarus, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Venezuela, Vietnam, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia now, China, Cuba, Palestine, Republic of Spasika, Serbia, Slovakia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and now Myanmar again. So, very big news. And while preparing the Victory Day parade in Moscow, Russia's security services are now rehearsing emergency protocols ahead of the Victory Day parade in Moscow. So these Russian security forces are rehearsing emergency protocols if in a case Ukrainian drones do attack the Victory Day parade. The next news we've gotten today is that the United States is now finalizing new sanctions on Russia and is now awaiting Trump's approval. So the US plans to tougher sanctions on Russia's energy and banking sectors, targeting the gas giant Gazprom and key financial firms to pressure Moscow over Ukraine. The sanctions still await Donald Trump's approval, which remains uncertain due to his mixed stances on Russia. The package will include secondary sanctions on exports to India and China, aiming to cut off Russia's funding and main incomes. So right now, Russia has been subject to 24,311 sanctions since 2014. 5 times more than Iran, which has about 5,000 restrictions. So Russia is now subject to 24,311 sanctions. The sanctions imposed by countries, the most is the United States with 7,384 sanctions, second Canada, then Switzerland, then the EU, France, the UK, Australia, Japan, and Asian countries are, one of the smallest ones are South Korea and Singapore. So, very interesting news. And the next news we've got today is coming from Crimea. So, I don't usually go over military events, especially in the Ukrainian and Russia war, but today was a bit different, because today we had news that the world's first Ukrainian sea drone destroys a Russian fighter jet. So, Ukraine's special forces used a sea drone to destroy a Russian Su-30 fighter jet near the city of Novonskia, this exact city here, marking the first ever destruction of a fighter jet by a naval drone. So the 50 million aircraft, the Su-30, exploded in mid-air and crashed into the Black Sea. And the next news we'll be talking about today is coming from Ukraine. So we've got news today that the UK has transferred all of its AS-90 self-propelled howitzers, around 68 units, to Ukraine, completing their complete removal from British Army service. Deliveries began in 2023 and included both operational systems and spare parts. So the UK has no longer no AS-90 self-propelled howitzers. The next news we've gotten today is that the Ukrainian military took part in a parade in London to mark the 80th anniversary of victory in World War II in Europe. So these Ukrainian soldiers are in Britain for military training. As they passed through the royal box, they were greeted with applause, and King Charles III actually congratulated them with a military salute. So the Ukrainian military took part in a military parade in London to mark the 80th anniversary of victory in World War II. We've also got news today that France will produce over 1,200 AASM Hammer precision bombs in 2025 and send them all to Ukraine. The next news we've got today is that the United States and Ukraine may wait about 10 years for profits from the mineral deal, Reuters reports. The strategic mineral extraction projects may take 10 to maybe 20 years to complete before they start generating real revenue. Furthermore, we've also got some news today that the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, visited Prague today in the Czech Republic. So I'll just quickly go over Zelensky's key statements that were made during his visit to the Czech Republic and his conference with the president of the Czech Republic as well. So according to Zelensky, this year another 1.8 million artillery shells could be supplied as part of the Czech initiative, says Zelensky. The president also notes that the Czech artillery initiative is working very well. Zelensky also says that some in Europe are blocking Ukraine's EU path for a better spot at Red Square. Zelensky has also announced the establishment of the Ukrainian and Czech F-16 school within the aviation coalition to be located outside of Ukraine due to security reasons. According to Zelensky, we are working with partners to open these schools outside of Ukraine as we continue to face daily Russian missile strikes. And that's all the news we've gotten from Ukraine today. And furthermore, the next news we'll be talking about today is coming from Romania's presidential elections. So, in the past couple of days, Romania has been ongoing huge elections that have been happening throughout Romania. And we've gotten the full results of the 2025 presidential elections, well, at least the first round of Romania's presidential elections. So, the first round of presidential elections, the winner is George Simon, who won with nearly 41% of the vote. So I'll just quickly explain and summarize George Simon. So George Simon is the leader of Romania's Nationalist Party, the alliance for the Union of Romanias. So he is seen as a very pro-Russian figure and a pro-Russian politician. So George Simon, again, is the leader of Romania's Nationalist Party. He supports the reunification of Romania and Moldova, viewing it as a historical imperative and a long-term goal for his party. He opposes deepening European Union integration into Romania. He supports policies centered on family, nation, Christian faith, and liberty. He strongly opposes same-sex marriage and LGBTQ plus rights. He's seen as very pro-Russian and has expressed complete refusal to give a military aid to Ukraine, and has actually already been banned from entering Ukraine. He is apparently seen as a very Donald Trump European figure. So very interesting news. So George Simon has officially won the first round of Romania's presidential election, and due to his first win of the first round of the presidential elections, we've just gotten news that Romania's pro-EU Prime Minister has just resigned due to his first round win. So very interesting news. Furthermore, the next news we've got today is coming from Germany, where we've got news that Germany's domestic spy agency designates the AfD party as a right-wing extremist party. So the German Domestic Intelligence Service, the BFV, on Friday classified the Alternative for Germany Party, or the AfD party, as a right-wing extremist group, citing numerous instances of the party trying to, I quote, undermine the free democratic order. The designation grants the BFV, Domestic Spy Agency of Germany, greater monitoring power, just months after the far-right party came just second place in the national elections in Germany, and now is the most popular party in Germany. So a lot of foreign leaders and a lot of foreign countries around the world have actually condemned Germany of granting the Germany domestic spy agency to actually spy on the AfD party. According to the Secretary of State Marco Rubio of America, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that authorities can now spy on the opposition and demands it reverse course. So, very big news. And we've also got some more breaking news today coming from Germany. That's Germany's Friedrich Merz candidate fails to become the Chancellor in first round of Parliament. So the Christian Democrat leader Friedrich Merz failed to secure enough votes in Parliament today to be elected Germany's new Chancellor, an unexpected twist. So Friedrich Merz received 310 votes in favour for him to become the Chancellor of Germany. There was 307 people against it in the Bundestag, and there was 3 people that didn't vote. He needed 316 approvals, but only got 310. So despite the CDU and its coalition partner SPD holding 328 seats, the results suggest internal dissent. So this is unprecedented in German political history, a chancellor failing on the first vote after a successful coalition. So according to the AfD leader Alice Windel, Friedrich Merz has become the first chancellor candidate in German history to fail the first round in the Bundestag vote. So very big news. The next news we've got today is coming from the Middle East. We've got news that the Yemeni Houthis has targeted Israel again and has launched a ballistic missile towards the Israeli Ben Gurion airport in Tel Aviv here. So the Yemeni Houthis have launched a ballistic missile on this international airport of Ben Gurion. I believe that's how you state the name. So, a missile fired by Yemen's Houthi rebels towards Israel on Sunday landed near the country's main international airports, causing panic among passengers. So, the Yemeni Iran-aligned Houthis claimed responsibility for the missile strike that struck near Ben Gurion Airport, international airport in Israel. So Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, vowed for retaliation to the Houthis for the attack that hit the international airport of Israel. And the Israeli Prime Minister definitely did get his retaliation strike. Because just today, we've got news that there's been a huge joint and Israeli-American bombing campaign against Hodeidah and Sana'a. So if you can see these videos here in your bottom left corner, there's been a huge joint Israeli and American strike that targeted the Yemeni port city of Hodeidah and the capital city of Yemen, Sana'a. So again, in here in your bottom left corner, we can see huge strikes of the joint Israeli and American bombing. So dozens of targets were attacked, and about 20 fighter jets attacked and dropped 50 munitions bombs. So the first photos shared by the Israeli Defense Forces shows the takeoff of the Air Force fighter jets for the strikes in Yemen. The military says that some 20 Israeli Air Force fighter jets participated in the airstrikes against the Houthis in Yemen this evening. The jets dropped some maybe 50 bombs on Hodeidah, the port here, and targeted a concrete factory near the nearby city of Beljal, the Jewish state military says. So the Israeli military confirmed strikes on Houthi targets in Hodeidah. So the highlights of the IDF statements is that the warplanes launched raids targeting Houthi infrastructure in the Yemeni coastal region. The raids came in a response to the repeated Houthi air attacks on Israel, which included the launching of the surface-to-surface missiles and drones at Israeli territories and citizens. We've got news that in the city of Hodeidah, a cement factory was attacked. The factory serves as a key economic facility for the Houthi rebel group, used to build tunnels and military infrastructure, the Israeli Defense Forces have reported. So to summarize everything, there's been a huge Israeli and American airstrike attack due to the Houthi missile strike on the international airport of Israel, and as a result, probably more than 50 bombs were dropped targeting the capital city of Yemen, Sana'a, and Hodeidah. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce the coastal city here. And a lot of targets were destroyed. So, very big news. And the next news we've got today is coming from Iran. So we've got news today that the Islamic Republic of Iran has unveiled a new ballistic missile with a range of 1,200 kilometers, enough to reach Israel and target almost all American bases in West Asia. So this new ballistic missile of the Iranian forces is called a Qassam Basur. So, if you can see this video here in your bottom left corner, the Islamic Republic of Iran unveils with this video the new ballistic missile with a range of 1,200 kilometers, which can reach Israel and almost all American bases nearby Iran. So very big news. We've also got news today that the US President Donald Trump alerts that all purchases of Iranian oil products must stop now, and any country or person who buys any amount of Iranian oil from Iran will be subjected to immediate secondary sanctions. They will not be allowed to do business with the United States of America in any way, shape, or form. So Donald Trump has just announced huge secondary sanctions on countries or people who buy Iranian oil furthering sanctions against Iran. And the next news we've got today is coming from South Africa. So we've got news that South African troops are now withdrawing from the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo and have now started assembling in the neighbouring country of Tanzania. And most should return home this month, the defence chief of South Africa stated on Sunday. So from there, they will return to South Africa by sea and air by the end of May. So South Africa is now completely withdrawing from the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, and now are returning back to South Africa. And the next news we've got today is coming from India and Pakistan. So first, we've got some news coming from Pakistan that Pakistan faces critical ammunition shortage due to alleged shells supplies to Ukraine. So the Indian Express cited expert estimates, writes that Pakistan's current stockpiles of artillery shells and ammunition would be only enough to fight a full-scale war for 4 days. So apparently, according to the Indian Express, Pakistan has been secretly supplying Ukraine since 2022. By the 2022-2023 year, Pakistan's arms export had grown to $450 million, up from $13 million in 2021. So the 3,000% growth and staggering profits came at a high price. So obviously Pakistan has completely denied supplying weapons to Ukraine, but according to Indian intelligence and news agencies, Pakistan faces critical ammunition shortage due to shell supplies to Ukraine. And furthermore, we've also got some news today that India has blocked the regulated water flow through the Baghiya Dam on Chenab River after suspending the Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan. So India has blocked another dam that feeds water to Pakistan. India did this after suspending the Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan. And with this development, with India starting to close down dams that feed Pakistan water, critical water supplies, tensions between the nuclear powers of Pakistan and India are continuing to escalate, with India blocking water or reducing the water output of these dams to Pakistan. So India is now cutting off water to Pakistan from the Baghiya Dam on Chenab River, and is also preparing to tamper down other dams within the region. And we've got news today that Pakistan issues a direct war warning to India over water. So the ambassador to Russia, the Pakistani ambassador to Russia stated that attempts to observe the water of Lower Ripon would be an act of war against Pakistan. 240 million people, this is the lifeline of Pakistan. So this was stated by the Pakistani ambassador to Russia. We've also got some news today that while all of these tensions are rising, the Prime Minister of India, Modi, bans Pakistani ships from entering Indian ports. And the next news we've got today is coming from Australia. So we've got some quick news today that Australia's Labour Party has snatched the victory in Australia's federal election. So Anthony Albanese and his Labour Party have pulled off a comeback win in Australia's federal election, beating the right-wing coalition to keep the PM seat. Back in January, polls had Labour sinking, trailing 47% to 53%. So Australia's Labour Party has won again in re-election in Australia and secured another administration term. So very big news. And the last news we've gotten today is coming from the United States. So first, we've got news today that Donald Trump has ordered the reopening and the rebuilding and reopening of Alcatraz prison. So Donald Trump has given orders today that America will be reopening the Alcatraz prison island after it's rebuilt. So according to Donald Trump, he will be reopening and enlarging the Alcatraz prison to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders, the US President Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social. So the Alcatraz Federal Prison was closed in 1963 and has since been operated as a museum. So Alcatraz Prison will now be reopening due to Donald Trump's orders, so I'll keep you updated on that. We've also got some news today that Donald Trump has slapped 100% tariffs on all movies made outside of the United States. And we've also got some news today that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense of America, has ordered the Pentagon to cut the number of senior generals by 20%. So the US Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has just ordered senior Pentagon leadership to cut the number of 4-star generals and admirals by at least 20% across the military, according to memos signed by Hegseth, dated Monday and obtained by CNN. And the last news we've got today is that the US National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has stepped down in his position. So the US President Donald Trump has removed Mike Waltz from his post as National Security Advisor and will nominate him as an ambassador to the United Nations. So in a post on social media, Trump thanked Waltz for his work and said that he would be temporarily replaced by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who will continue as America's top diplomat. So Mike Waltz had faced criticism for mistakenly adding a journalist to a chat group where sensitive military plans were discussed. So the US National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has been removed from his post and has been replaced as an ambassador to the United Nations. And that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am Non-Scene News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I will also actually be changing the format of content on the Non-Scene News channel. I will actually now be doing maybe 12 to maybe 10-minute YouTube videos now, and not these long 30-minute videos anymore. So I'll try now be posting 10-minute to 12-minute videos every day, maybe 2 every day now, of just the main points of news that have been happening day to day. So I think you'll enjoy them a lot better. But again, thank you very much for watching. I'm Non-Scene News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.